Coming at you from the south side of Chicago, straight out of my mother's basement at my childhood home, I'd like to welcome you all to the Power to Persist. Attorney Ben Crump, my dear brother, welcome to the Power to Persist, man. You're on the south side of Chicago. You're in Woodline, baby. This is my mother's right upstairs.
And summertime shy.
Summertime shy. It doesn't get any better. Wintertime shy is a little different.
Exactly. And I got to tell you, I'm here with you.
Yes, sir, brother.
And about 5,000 black lawyers and judges celebrating the centennial convention for the National Bar Association.
That's amazing.
The largest association of lawyers of color in America and beyond.
That's amazing. How has that journey been? I mean, you know, from where that organization started to where they are now and to see it manifest. I saw a photo, for example, the other day. You had the largest number of black judges assemble and march in. Yeah. That was amazing.
It was incredible, man. And you have to think from whence we came.
Yeah.
1925, the American Bar Association said no N-words.
Right.
So they were forced to go start the National Bar Association, and they did it in Iowa, of all places.
Wow.
And from there, the likes of the great legal titans.
Yeah.
You know, Charles Hamilton Houston,
yeah.
Thurgood Marshall, Constant Baker Motley, Fred Gray.
Yeah.
All of them came through the National Bar.
Yeah.
And then Willie Gary, Johnny Cochran, all these great names, Billy Murphy.
Yeah.
Every black lawyer, Ketanji Brown Jackson, Michelle Obama, Barack Obama, all of them had memberships in the National Bar Association. So at 100 years, we know where we at this time in our history. And so we tell these young lawyers, you always shape the next 100 years.
Yeah, so you're getting ahead in my notes. But so interesting, I was on social media this morning, and I saw this funny clip of some parents, and it was different examples of parenting. So there was the gentle parent that tried to tell the kid, you know, Johnny, go do this. And then the parent had to snap and like yell at Johnny, Johnny, go do this. And then Johnny like snapped. And it made me think about our time together this morning. Sometimes do you feel like you try to tell America and the world, you know, how to go forward and distribute equal justice, and you try to do it in a certain kind of way, but then you got to yell and shout. Do you feel that way sometimes?
Absolutely. I think you have to understand that as long as we're well-behaved victims, nothing changes.
Yeah.
We have to, as our friend Reverend Al say, you better yell and scream because an open mouth won't get fed.
Yeah.
And I was speaking at a panel, CLE, and I lost my voice, Lamell, for partying with
y'all been having a good time this week, man.
Jeezy and Cedric Richmond and all those guys. Because, you know, lawyers are going to party.
Ain't no doubt about it.
But I was speaking, and they were talking about the Department of Justice under this administration. And, you know, do you see any path forward? What do we do when, you know, you don't have the federal government that historically always came, especially in southern states, to enforce the constitutional rights for minorities.
Yeah.
And I told them, we're going to be fine because we got to remember now, we got the DNA of people who always were able to overcome no matter the oppression and the degree of the oppression.
No doubt about it.
But I told them very honestly, you have to say right off the rip, if y'all want to know, well, what do you do, Ben? How do you get such attention and results? I say, you have to go in with this mindset that we're not going to play by their playbook. Because if you play by their rules, the game is rigged against black people in America. And you know that going in. So when they say, oh, well, good lawyers don't try their cases in the court of public opinion and in the media.
Yeah.
And I sit back and I think to myself, so you all want us to just rely on the court of law and nothing else. How has that worked out for black people over the last 100 years? No. You better fight with every weapon you got and make people aware of the intellectual justification of discrimination. So when it happens, you got a whole group, a whole army of people ready to protest and dissent.
Richard Pryor used to say, you don't get the justice you deserve, you get the justice you can afford. He said, you go down to the courthouse looking for justice, all you find is just us.
Amen. Amen. And that's a big part of it. Lamell, I learned this from you, brother, sharp brothers like you. We always have to remember at the core, America is a capitalistic society.
Yeah.
You know, whoever got the goal, make the rule.
Yeah.
We're seeing that even more pronounced than ever in 2025. So black people, we better have a plan to build up economic power bases.
Yeah.
Because that's what America listens to.
We're 5 years post George Floyd, and yet voting rights, affirmative action, and police reform are all under threat. Where do you see the justice movement gaining ground, and where are we losing momentum?
Well, what we need to do is just look back at our history.
Yeah.
I mean, the more things change, the more they stay the same. And it's always a journey to justice. We can never get complacent. We can never think we finally arrived.
Right.
It is always going to be a work in progress.
Yeah.
And so, you know, with George Floyd, it was a watershed moment for America. I mean, there were so many firsts there, Lamell.
Yeah.
First time as civil rights lawyers ever saw police come into a courtroom and testify against a police officer. When the chief said what was on that video did not reflect our policy, our training, or our values. That was like jaw-dropping to us. Really, to have a police testify against a police on sworn testimony in a courtroom.
Because allegedly they have like a code where
The
they
blue
kind of
line.
stick the blue line.
And
right?
nobody crosses it.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I can be real because we talk.
Yeah.
You know, they always come to the hood and they say, hey, when you see people doing bad stuff, you all got to speak up. Y'all got to cooperate. You know, y'all all say, we ain't gonna snitch, no snitching. Snitches get stitched and all this stuff. They try to feed our people. And so what I often would say with young people and stuff, I say, when the police say that, they'll say, no, we understand that, but why don't y'all just show us how to do it? Because y'all see police do bad things all the time.
That's right.
And you never say a word about it.
That's right.
You know, they say, well, I used to go on Fox News and they say, oh, Attorney Crump, wouldn't you say that, you know, all police aren't bad? Wouldn't you agree most of them are good people and so forth? And I would never give in to that letting them have the moral high ground. I would say, you know, you're not trying to say all black people are bad, are you? When you say most of them are good people, like that right there. And when you're good, then you're good all the time, even when the camera's off. And police don't tell on other police. And then they get upset and people in our community don't tell on other people. No, if we're going to be honest and transparent and for truth and justice, and needs to be across the board.
One set of rules.
One set of rules. And the last thing I would say on that there, because I do think, you know, on the journey, you take 2 steps forward.
Yeah.
And then, you know, you have a step back.
Yeah.
And so forth, but you forever got to keep your eyes on the prize. And what I keep telling everybody now is we got to go back to our ancestors. Frederick Douglass said, without struggle, there can be no progress.
Yes, sir.
And you know, Lamell, we're going to have some struggle and some challenges over the next 3 years
Yes, sir.
of this administration. But, you know, Frederick Douglass was saying when our people had it way worse, way worse than we have it today. He kept saying, y'all, we can't get depressed because of the struggle. We can't have despair because of the struggle. He said, as long as we are willing to fight, as long as we refuse to wave the white flag of surrender, then that means as long as we're willing to struggle, our children have a chance at a better tomorrow. He said, so we got to get up every morning and we got to celebrate the struggle. We got to run to the front line. So I'm ready to fight again for my black children every day. And long as we have that mentality, understanding that as long as we're struggling, we making progress, we win. We can never concede or have that defeatist mentality like, oh, woe is me. There's nothing we can do.
I love that, man, and I appreciate that, and I hope people can really feel your passion for justice and for what you do. You stood beside families at the center of national outrage, from Trayvon Martin to Breonna Taylor to Tyree Nichols. In 2025, I think you just said it, but in 2025, what keeps you fighting when many people have moved on?
As a civil rights lawyer and a student of history, Thurgood Marshall is my North Star.
Yeah.
Thurgood was brilliant, was articulate, but what he was most was courageous. And he understood that we were in a war.
Yeah.
And in a war, there are going to be battles you win and battles you lose.
Yeah.
But you keep fighting. And so when I think about at this point that we're in the war,
yes, sir,
they're stacking the odds. They're, really changing all the rules every time we get to the goalpost.
Yep.
But what Thurgood understood and what I'm telling a lot of young lawyers now, you got to be strategic. We got to not just work harder, but we got to work smarter.
Yeah.
Malcolm X, I represent the family of Malcolm X. I study Malcolm a lot. Malcolm was always consistent. He said the reason we lost was not because we were outnumbered, but because we were out-organized. In the down times, we got to be working now, just like they were working on Project 2025 for years. We got to be working on our Project 2028, and we got to be dotting I's and crossing T's, Lamell.
Now, when you say we, I'm always curious. Like I know there are a lot of I struggle with the we and then how we pull that together. Like who puts that kind of document together to counter, to be the antithesis of the 2025 program?
It's always going to be a small group.
Yeah,
the majority are never going to get anything accomplished.
Yeah,
it got to be a small group, a similar minded.
Yeah.
Progressive, forward-thinking individuals who are not going to be lost on just the conformity of the present moment, but have the vision to say, this is where we're going tomorrow and next week and next year.
Reverend Jackson talked about a rainbow coalition. Is this group that you're talking about, does it still represent this rainbow? Is it all black? Is it multiracial?
I think it could be a rainbow coalition, but I'm always careful because normally when we start adding everybody in there, that means black people get pushed to the bottom.
Got it.
And I'm always concerned about that. People, when black people do good in America, everybody else do great.
Yeah.
And so at some point we do have to make black people first.
Yeah.
Our priorities first. We can't say, well, let's all go up together and everybody benefit, and then black people keep being left at the bottom. Even with the DEI, dynamics. White women, LGBTQ, just went through over, and they kept achieving everything. But the black people weren't making that much progress. But it was all built on the struggles of black people. No, let's be honest and say we want our people to be able to achieve stuff and have generational wealth like you have done so incredibly.
I'm trying, brother.
Yeah, oh man, Lamell, you far above. But we got to not be ashamed to say, I'm for black people.
Yeah.
I keep saying that this administration is unapologetic
Yeah.
in their white supremacist beliefs.
Yeah.
So we have to be unapologetic defenders of black life,
Yeah.
black liberty,
Yeah.
and black humanity.
Yeah.
And so when I talk about us organizing and strategizing, we got to start doing that now and figure out how we help black people have equal opportunity at this American promise of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I'm not saying we got to have a better position. We just want an equal playing field for our children too.
Yeah. Yeah. Fair enough. You've often said that justice isn't just about verdicts. It's about visibility, policy, and power. Has the definition of justice shifted in this moment today?
Well, I wrote a book called Open Season, The Legalized Genocide of Colored People. And the premise of the book was basically this. No matter what facts, what controversy, what case, Lamell, the Supreme Court and the other Article III courts always figured out how black and brown people got the most of injustice and the least of justice, no matter what the situation was. Even when you think about the Civil Rights Amendments, you know, the 12th, 13th, 14th Amendment, they passed them after the Civil War, and then within 20 years, the Supreme Court had neutralized all of them. You had blacks back on convict leasing, no more 40 acres and a mule, and then all the Congress and senators that won elections in the South, they went and took their democratic rights back, the rights to vote with these poll taxes and these grandfather clauses and so forth. And so I call it the intellectual justification of discrimination. And so literally, when we talk about justice, it needs to have some component in there when it's power to the people.
Yeah.
Quite simply put. And you just can never escape it.
Yeah.
America is a capitalistic society.
Yeah.
When you have economic freedom, that makes all the other freedoms that much more attainable.
Yeah.
So if they can keep us from getting that economic freedom, they only have to work on the other stuff.
Some say justice fatigue is real, that people are tired, especially when it seems change is slow. What do you say to that?
I have a fraternity brother, Dr. William Smith.
I'm glad you mentioned that fraternity, whatever the name of that fraternity
That
is.
great
that you're a part
fraternity,
of.
Omega Psi Phi. I gave you some kudos. Thurgood was an alpha.
Without a doubt.
But Dr. William Smith developed the concept. He's over the psychology department for the University of Utah. He and wrote a book about it called Racial Battle Fatigue. And it's about black people having to deal with all the microaggressions
On a daily basis.
a daily basis, and how it gives you post-traumatic stress disorder because you battling every day. You know, this bigoted society every day disrespecting your civil rights and your constitutional rights, questioning your humanity, trying to oppress you at every turn, to try to tell you that no matter what you have achieved, you're not there on your merits. You're only there because there's some quota system for racial minorities. I mean, and so every day you're watching police kill us and nothing happens. You're watching people being wrongfully convicted and the system just keeps going.
Yeah.
And it do start to work on your mentality, on your psyche, to say, man, will we ever overcome this racism and discrimination and oppression? And what I always remind people of, Lamell, you think we got it hard?
Yeah.
Man, our grandparents, our great-grandmothers and grandfathers had it way harder back in Jim Crow and slavery in the Middle Passage. Way harder. We got to remember, man, I heard that somebody say this and I thought it was so profound. They say, you all got to remember, we are the survivors, the strongest people who survived the most genocidal dynamic in the history of the world, which was the Middle Passage. And you are the strongest no matter what. You've been able to adapt. And so at the beginning of this current administration of the president, an old black woman told me, she said, Attorney Crump, she said, you got a big platform. A lot of people listen to you when you talk and so forth. So I want you to go tell our people, we done been through way too many thunderstorms to worry about a few raindrops coming from the Trump administration.
Man, in my book, The Power to Persist, one of the 8 principles I lift up is faith. And you know, for us in the Christian context, faith is defined as the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. And what you just said is a reminder. I'm constantly trying to remind people that we are the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. For our ancestors who never would have imagined a Ben Crump, the legal ego giant, right? Our ability to have this conversation this way and in this context.
And think about the sacrifices they made for us, man. I mean, I don't know if your great-grandparents could have ever imagined this brilliant entrepreneur, kingmaker. I mean, help elect the president of the United States who looked like you and me. I mean, they had to use their imagination to think of a day like this. And we're the beneficiaries of it. And we can't have a defeatist mentality because they never had a defeatist mentality.
They didn't, brother. In your opinion, what does it mean to win? Not just legally, but culturally and morally in a case where a life has been lost?
You know, I think it is not just about getting justice for the individual. It's about getting policy changes that'll have an impact on everybody who are similarly situated to whether it was Breonna or Trayvon or Michael Brown or George Floyd, you know, Tyree Nichols, Stephon Clark, Sonia Massey. I mean, it's about changing laws and policies. And so many times, Lamell, man, talking about George Floyd, we saw the historic justice police testifying against one another, but then for the first time in the state of Minnesota, you had a police officer convicted of a felony for killing a black person. And then you had federal charges where you had them convicted. So first time in history at state and federally that police were held accountable and went to prison. I mean, and then you had a record settlement because, you know, part of my mentality is I pray every day that we can close the police brutality division of my law firm. So we wouldn't have to have all these hashtags that we can't even keep up with now. And we would have to wonder about, man, what would have become of Trayvon Martin had he got to live? What would have become of Breonna Taylor had she got to live? And these young people, Ahmaud Arbery. I mean, and so you pray that you can just slow down the hashtags, and that's what you're fighting for. And so many times you're fighting like Thurgood Marshall. Thurgood said you have to keep your eyes on the prize and keep focused because what you're doing hopefully will prevent more lynchings in the future.
The perception is that, you know, you called the roll just a second ago. You called the name from Breonna Taylor to Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, et cetera. The perception is that these were like rapid fire at one point. Have these matters slowed down?
No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. It's gotten worse. It's almost like we started this conversation, Lamell. It's a journey to justice. You take 2 steps forward, step back. First black president, and then you hear the Pentium come back the other way.
Yeah.
I mean, George Floyd, historic justice, then back the other way.
Yeah.
So it's a perpetual struggle.
Yeah.
And we just have to keep telling people, struggle is a good thing. It is not a bad thing. We celebrate the struggle because that's the only way we move forward. Even, you know, when you think about what makes a car be propelled, it got to be friction to make their pistons spark.
Yeah.
And we got to tell our people the same thing. Let's get up and celebrate the struggle. What you happy for? Because we get to fight another day.
You know, life has a funny way of testing us right when we think we have it all figured out. Those moments remind us that resilience is not about never failing. That's what the Power to Persist is all about. 8 simple habits to help you stay grounded, strong, and focused when life gets a little heavy. I'd be honored if you came along on this journey with me. Visit LamellMcMorris.com to get your copy of The Power to Persist and listen to the Power to Persist podcast so we can continue to persist together. You've been in courtrooms, on protest lines, at kitchen tables with grieving families. What habit or mindset has helped you keep showing up, especially when justice feels out of reach? In my book, I talk about, again, 8 habits that fuel persistence: attitude, work ethic, agility, vulnerability, network, focus, dogged determination, and faith. Which one of these shows up most with Ben Crump?
I think it's hard to pick out of there. But Power to Persist seems like a great guideline for brothers and sisters who want to make a difference in the world. I look forward to reading it in detail.
Yeah.
Read those categories again, Lamell.
Attitude, work ethic, agility, vulnerability, network, focus, dogged determination, and faith. I know in your head you're like, shoot, man, I do that in like every 5 minutes. I'm embodying
Exactly. I think it does start with attitude, though. You just have to have the attitude that I refuse to lose.
Yeah.
And no matter what they do, the enemies of equality will not win this war.
Yeah.
You know, as long as I got breath in my body, we're not going to let them win.
Yeah.
So it starts with attitude, and then it is about strategic thinking. The fact, and I didn't finish the thought, we were talking about it. I teach young people can't play by their rules. And you have to understand that it's about being strategic. You know, as a student of history, and Malcolm X said, not because we're outnumbered, but we was out-organized. You know, Napoleon in most of his battles in war was always outnumbered, but he looked for strategic advantages where he could exploit that one thing.
Right, that one thing.
That one thing. And now I know you're a big football fan with the Bears and the Bulls and the NBA, and it's the same thing. What good strategic thinkers think of is what one thing can I exploit with my opponent. It's about matchups and so forth. And that's what we have to figure out. How can we exploit our, advantageous position to their detriment?
Yeah.
And we ain't got to, even as trial lawyers, they tell us in trial practice, and I try to tell young lawyers this all the time, man. When you fighting for the little guy in the David and Goliath scenario, man, you ain't got to be right on all issues. You just got to have your issue and say to the jury, this is the issue that matters. These other issues are not as important as this issue because they tell you the jury is going to decide on issue. And they're going to be 1,000 issues in a case.
Yeah.
You just want them to make sure they decide on your issue.
I love it.
And that's the key. Strategic thinking. What is our issue that we got to win on?
You said before that the court of public opinion is often where justice begins, that raising awareness and shaping the narrative is just as important as winning in a courtroom. But in 2025, with the rise of AI-generated misinformation, deep fakes, and media polarization, do you still believe that public opinion is a reliable tool for justice? How do you navigate a landscape where the truth itself is constantly under attack?
Yeah, and social media is really, really changing society in ways we couldn't even have imagined 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Couldn't have imagined it. And, you know, I go back to Malcolm X. Kareem, investigator here, is in the Nation of Islam, and we often talk about the brilliance of Malcolm. Man, Malcolm said that the media is a powerful entity. It can have the guilty appear innocent, have the innocent be condemned as guilty. And so social media is that on steroids. On steroids. Because the news cycles last about 6 hours now in America.
Without a doubt.
And with social media and your algorithms, it changes, man.
Yeah.
And so we have to try to stay up on technology. And I know that's hard for us older people. But young people, they get it, boy.
Without a doubt. Like that.
Things is constantly changing, constantly moving.
Yeah.
And so the only way we survive is we got to evolve too. I mean, I'm learning AI, I'm learning about perplexity and all these things because it's going so fast.
Yeah.
My 12-year-old daughter is teaching me stuff about social media.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, the deep fakes and bots and all this stuff that's trying to infect our community's mentality is a challenge. But I have so much faith in the young people. We just got to keep trying to give them principles, keep giving them, you know, at all these protests that I show up at Rev and them, it's mostly young people with us.
Yeah, which is consistent with history. The history of all movements, right? From international to domestic. It's always been young people driving.
This new case with William McNeil Jr.
Yeah, tell me about that. A young brother goes to an HBCU. I've seen the footage. I think you showed some other perspectives and some other camera angles the other day.
It's just so riveting because he got it all on video. Black
Genius young brother to put that camera the way he did and to start recording.
Yeah, and they didn't know it.
Yeah.
And it is an example for all people to always record interactions with police, no matter what.
Right.
But what makes this so, I guess, riveting, why it's gone viral, Lamell, is black people for decades upon decades was saying they just stopped me because I'm black.
Yeah.
Driving while black.
Yeah.
But to actually have it where you can see it.
Yeah.
And you can hear what's being said.
Yeah.
So it can be put into context.
Yeah.
I mean, the brother asked, you know, why you stopped me?
Yeah.
And the police says, because you didn't have your headlights on.
Yeah.
It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
Broad daylight.
Yeah.
And he said, but what do you mean? He said, well, the law is that you have to have your headlights on when it's raining or it's foggy. And he's like, but it's not raining. It's not foggy.
Yeah.
And at that point, he knows that he's lying to him.
Yeah.
And so he says what he has every right to do as an American citizen. He says, I want to speak to your supervisor. And, you know, I think he was having what I've articulated as a 21st century Rosa Parks moment. Black Americans tired of being constantly having our civil rights disrespected, our constitutional rights, our humanity challenged. And so you just have a moment where you say, I'm not going to allow it today. You know, all our white sisters and brothers, not all of them, a lot of them say, well, why didn't he just comply? Why do every day we just have to comply with you violating our constitutional rights? We too have a Fourth Amendment right against the prohibition of our search and seizures of our persons, of our homes, our properties. I mean, why did he have to say, you get to violate my Fourth Amendment rights against seizure? And this is coming at the heels of Breonna Taylor, police officer Brett Hankerson being convicted. And now we got the sentencing. The same time the video is going viral, we have the Department of Justice officials in the Trump administration coming to the courtroom in Louisville, Kentucky, where an all-white jury convicted Brett Hankerson of violating Breonna Taylor's civil rights. And they're saying, well, his bullets didn't really hit Breonna, so it really wasn't a real crime. And the white female judge, who was appointed by President Trump in his first term, saying, no, violation of civil rights is a crime in America.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's still out in front of Breonna Taylor's door and wildly shot 10 shots. I mean, just recklessly. Half the bullets went near where the officers, his fellow officers were, and half of them went to where Breonna was. And the judge said, no, Breonna Taylor was under siege at that point. She could not leave, and it was unlawful. And a jury listened to 6 hours of evidence and testimony, and they concluded that he violated Breonna Taylor's civil rights, and that is a crime in America. And just like it was a crime in Jacksonville when they busted the window and, violated every principle of the Fourth Amendment. And why do black people not have a right to the Fourth Amendment and a right to the Second Amendment and all the other bills of rights? And that's what's at stake. And so that brother, it was all recorded.
Yeah.
That's why that video now has been seen. It was 50 million yesterday. It's probably 60 million now because people are looking and saying, it's driving while black.
Yeah.
Police, sheriff, you can't justify this. You can't condone this.
Yeah.
You must condemn this. And you must say, this does not reflect our values or our policies. And now officers need to be terminated and they need to be charged with assault and battery because they punched him when he was showing his hands and everything, took him out the car, punched him more, and then when they got him restrained, slammed his head repeatedly as they cursed at and swore at him, broke his teeth, 12 stitches, busted his head, and then took him to jail, a young brother who had never been arrested, no criminal convictions, college student. And now he has a criminal record that will follow him for life because he had the audacity to say, why did you stop me?
Which is his right.
They put a gun at him for not having headlights on.
And busted his window.
Insult on top of injury.
When you think about that, and you think about the cases that you've led, and then you think about your 12-year-old daughter that you just mentioned, what do you tell your daughter about resilience and persistence?
I tell Brooklyn the same thing my mother told me. And I'll tell this story, and I tell it even though it makes me get emotional, but I think our young people need to hear it. When I was a little boy, probably just a little younger than Brooklyn, you go back to school and everybody get new shoes. my mother, everything I am to be, is because of the sacrifices of my mother, Helen, and my grandmother, who we affectionately call my Mitty. And my mother worked 2 jobs. She worked at the hotel, maid, cleaning laundry, getting to work by 5 o'clock in the morning, and then coming home, be home for an hour and a half at most, before she went to the factory to work second shift at Converse Shoe Factory. And, Black women are truly just mystical creatures. They just do it. They don't complain much.
Yeah.
They just keep going. And my mom did this, and I remember being a little ungrateful brat, as most children are. And I remember my mama coming home in the middle of her 2 jobs. Sacrificing everything to keep a roof over our head, food on our table, and put some hope in our hearts. And she doing this just routinely, not getting any awards for it, Lamell. And I remember being a little boy, and people were starting to get Nikes, were starting to come onto the horizon. And everybody wanted new Nikes for school. And we went back to school, and I was like in the 5th grade, and I remember being mad at my mama, saying, "It ain't fair, mama. Everybody else got new shoes, new Nikes. Why can't we get new Nikes?" And my mom at that time in 1980, I think the minimum wage was like $4.25 an hour.
Wow.
And these Nike shoes was running like $80 and $90.
Yeah.
And probably would have took my mom's whole paycheck to buy me and my little brother's new Nikes. But that didn't matter, because I just said, all the other children got them, it ain't fair. It ain't fair. And I remember my mama with tears in her eyes saying to me, "Well, life ain't fair. Life is hard. You make it fair by what you bring to the table. And if you don't bring nothing to the table, don't expect nobody to let you sit down at the table." And then I kind of was feeling bad because I saw my mother crying. And I never forgot that. And my mother would later tell me education was something to bring to the table. Because once you get it up here, nobody can take it from you. And I even remember, Lamell, when I graduated from college, because that was such a seminal moment in my life. What are you bringing to the table? Don't expect nobody to give you nothing. When I graduated from college at Florida State University, one of the first things I said to my mother is, "Mom, I'm bringing something to the table."
I love it.
And that's what I would tell my daughter. Don't expect life to be fair. Expect life to be hard, because that's what it's going to be no matter who you are. And if you ain't bringing nothing to the table, ain't nobody going to give you nothing. Ain't nobody letting you sit at the table. And we got to make sure our children know, let's prepare them for a real life, not no yippity-doo-dah fairy tale life. No. For our children, life is going to be hard. But it's okay, because we're going to give you all the tools to overcome and be able not just to survive, but to thrive. I thank my mama every day, because that little powerful, strong, black, crazy lady, she gave me everything I needed to survive in this life.
If you could convene a dinner of 8 ancestors that were legal giants in your field, who would that be and why?
And all of them wouldn't be just in the legal field.
Okay.
Because the first person I'm starting off with is Frederick Douglass.
Wow.
The Dred Scott case
Yeah.
really is Frederick Douglass pushing the principles that once we free, we free.
Mm-hmm.
And
Period.
period.
Yeah.
And so when you read about the Dred Scott decision, I think Dred Scott led to the Civil War.
Yeah.
Because Frederick was dogmatic in his belief that black people freedom could not be compromised and so forth. So it'd be Frederick Douglass.
That's one.
It'd be Harriet Tubman with the mentality that, why did you keep going back in slavery after you got free? A dozen trips back, risking your life and liberty. And what did she say? Because I couldn't justify me being free while others were enslaved. You got to have that mentality if you're going to be a real freedom fighter.
Without a doubt.
And then you come down and you start getting to the legal giants of, obviously, my personal hero, Thurgood Marshall, who was just courageous on a whole different level, man. I get the death threats and I get it, but, man, Thurgood Marshall knew every time he left New York and was coming to fight these battles, all the black people got excited that Thurgood's coming. And the racist white supremacists knew Thurgood was coming too. And they were going to try to kill him. They were going to make an example out of this high-yellow Negro using the other N-word every day. But he came anyway. He could not stay in the house more than 2 days. He knew he had to change every day, Lamell, because the lynch mob was coming for him every day. And he kept coming. Thurgood. Obviously, Thurgood's mentor, Charles Hamilton Houston, would be the fourth person who understood. He was the architect for Brown versus Boyd, kind of like our Moses. He didn't get to see the promised land, but he was preparing us for it. And him and Thurgood, they got it, that it had to start with the young people. Brown versus Boyd was about, we got to show young people at an early age that there's no difference between us, whether you have black skin or white skin. It doesn't matter. You got to learn that from an early age. The least common denominator to show what your possibilities were was skin color. It was so trivial in that society built this construct, this social construct of race that we now, and it's America who really pushed it more than anybody in the world. And that the audience was thinking it was us who pushed race to the very forefront of society. So you got those four, and then you got Constant Baker Motley. Just brilliant sister. When you go read the opinions. I always liked Thurgood Marshall for many reasons, but I loved how he would introduce all his legal team. And then he'd say, and this is Constance. She's not just the most beautiful amongst us, but she's the most intelligent. Because we always got to give our sisters their flowers. Oftentimes they get overlooked.
Without a doubt.
So that's 5. You said I had 7?
8.
And then it's such a hard thing to list 8. But, I would include, Johnny and Willie. Johnny Cochran and Willie Gary. Our contemporary legal giants. I stand on their shoulders. We always want to give flowers to our people. And then, man, I would probably include Ida B. Wells. The lady who understood that we had to document the lynchings. We had to tell the stories that the hunter, as long as he get the right the narrative, then the glory will always go to the hunter and never the lion. And so those just basic people. Notice I didn't get to King and Malcolm and everything because, before I can get there, all these people made them possible.
No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I know we got to get you out of here. When Attorney Crump gets in his car, what's on the playlist? What's he listening to?
we all grew up on hip hop.
Yeah.
And so it's different when I get in the car or when I'm going to trial.
Got you. Ah, okay.
If I'm going to trial,
Okay.
I'm starting off with Public Enemy, Fight the Power.
I love it.
You know, and then I got some Tupac in there, Bomb First.
Yeah.
Get your head first bleeding. Don't want to hear no ish this evening.
Yeah,
Ish.
yeah.
I didn't say the bad word. Believe then.
Yeah.
You know, it's those things that get me amped up. LL Cool J, Mama said, knock you out.
Yeah.
You know, you got to have the right mentality. Then ain't no stopping us now. All of these battle-tested songs, you just getting ready to go to the battle for, get you in the right mindset. I think, man, Curtis Mayfield.
Yeah.
No Thing on Me.
Yeah.
I'm so glad I got my own.
Yeah.
You know, that whole Superfly soundtrack.
Yeah.
Get you in the right mindset.
Yeah.
So it's those things, man. I think about so often the staple singers, Mavis Staple and Pops and them say, I'll take you there.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff, the soundtrack for the movement.
Yeah.
That's what I listen to a lot to get me in the right mentality.
My brother, Attorney Ben Crump, I can't thank you enough because I know how crazy your schedule is. The fact that you would take time out and join us on the Power to Persist podcast, brother, means everything to me. So proud of you.
And it's for you, brother, that I make time because you've always been one of those trailblazers moving strategically. And I thank you for being an ally who I can call my brother.
Without a doubt. Thank
Love you, man.
Love you too. Thank you. Make sure to like and subscribe wherever you're listening so you stay in the know about future episodes. See you next time, my friends.